An academic woman said, "Well-behaved women seldom make history." And her name was Laurel Ulrich. And that quote has been attributed to Eleanor Roosevelt, but she was actually quoting something that came before her. But I bring it up because I was looking at a comment on a video that I had. In fact, of course, I get dozens and dozens and hundreds and thousands of comments on videos I post, but it was actually kind of a dialogue between a man and a woman, and the man was going off, as men do go off, about us women, and he had called me fat and unattractive and unlikable. And before I had even, in a sense, responded to it, another woman had, she had responded, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, thank God that I've been unlikable since way before I was 30." Because, of course, he was commenting on me being old, being in my 50s. and I'm laughing because when she said that she was, quote, unlikable way before her 30s, it made me think about the very first time that a person of the opposite gender had criticized me or tried to make fun of me or ridicule me. And I was at an event. I think I was 13 or 14. I was going up some steps, and this two guys called me fat. Now, at the time, I was 140 pounds and 5'5". So I didn't really understand at the time what my weight was supposed to be. So it kind of stung. And then later, when I became an athlete and we did the caliper test, I was 145. Same exact weight, 5 pounds heavier, I think. And we did the caliper test, and my coach told me that my body fat was under 15%, and that I had to be, in a sense, careful because my muscle mass was so great that if I got to like 13, 14% or less than that, that I would, stop having periods. And, I was going into college at that point, and she was like, you might decide to get married and you want to have kids, and you'll have to be above 15% body fat. Generally, she said around 17 to 18% body fat to be fertile. So the weight that I was at 145, 5 pounds heavier than I was a few years earlier, was a weight that was in danger of me being infertile. A weight that was causing me to possibly get to a point of amenorrhea when I would have no periods. But these gentlemen, guys, called me fat. And it stung at the time because I didn't know. I didn't know what I was supposed to weigh. I didn't know that I was perfectly healthy, perfectly proportioned, actually more muscular than fat, more lean than bulky. But I didn't know that. So what they said stung. And I bring this up because there's a really powerful thing about knowledge. When you know the truth and you know the facts, people's opinions really do not matter. And so this man, who now I am plus size and I am 53 years old, who's, this man is calling me fat and unattractive and all of that. He doesn't know that I've gone through this whole transition of not caring what some man on the internet wants to say about my picture. This guy doesn't know me from Eve, so why would his opinion matter? And when she said, thank goodness I've been unlikable since way before I was 30, it just made me smile so big, because this idea that my greatest goal would be to have a man like me, a stranger that I don't even know, for him to think that I'm ladylike or nice and kind and gentle and generous and all of these things that men want to say, right? That's not my greatest goal. It's not my greatest goal at all. I know who I am, and I don't need a stranger on the internet to validate that. And every now and then, it's just so great to be reminded of the fact that I don't need that validation. Because once upon a time I did. Once upon a time, it would have hurt my feelings for somebody to call me unlikable or unattractive or old or fat. It would have hurt my feelings because I wanted to feel validated. I wanted to get approval. But what I realized, teaching English is a beautiful thing. And there is an essay, I think it's Self-Reliance. It's either by Emerson or Thoreau, but there is a quote, and I believe it's from Self-Reliance. And he says that the sweet faces of the mob, like their sour faces, are changeable, and they're put on and off like the wind, and as a newspaper directs. So he was talking about the newspaper, but we could apply that to social media. We could apply that to, trends. So people who smile at you and think that you're beautiful and attractive, their smiles and their frowns are changeable, meaning their moods change and then they take it out on you. Trends change and they take it out on you. What society approves of and disapproves of changes and they take it out on you. And I'm not going to rely on that for my sense of self or my validation. Like he was saying in that article, to thine own self be true. And march to the beat of your own drummer. This was something that they were talking about way back in the day.